because us in Chihuahua sometimes think, oh, well, we done that. We tried that.
Right.
Yeah.
And the we've tried that. It doesn't work. Is kind of, it makes me cringe. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Yeah. Because somebody else comes in and just tweaks it a little, and the time is right. So the time is right for Larry to be here in Chihuahua. It's exciting.
Yeah, I agree. He's done a lot of great work.
Yeah, so that's Thursday. That's tomorrow night. You don't want to miss it. And it's just an open house, so you don't have to be there for the whole time. You come, you look at all the displays, and you can go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yep. So Saturday we have to be there for the whole time. You come. Oh,
I fixed it.
You fixed it. Yay, thanks, Scott.
All right.
All right, Chuck, you can have your computer back.
Okay, you got us up and going for the people listening on Facebook.
Yeah, yes. Somehow the microphone got muted, but I think we're all fixed.
Okay, good.
All right. Thank you, viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good that somebody's listening to us.
and I believe Ken keeps calling me or calling the radio station, and I believe that was why he was calling.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That's good.
All right.
That's good. Saturday, Jenkins has a football game at Liberty Bell at 7, and up at the Rusty Putter is a murder mystery dinner from 4:30 to 7:30. Do you have any details on that, Chuck?
I did have some details. Let me pull them up. You keep going to the next one, and I'll get those details up here.
I've got some here too.
Okay, we'll do it. Go for it.
Dinner: chicken fettuccine, salad, French bread, and dessert. Beverage not included. Pre-sale tickets at the Rusty Putter or at the Chamber of Commerce, $25 per person. Limited seating up at the golf course at the Rusty Putter, and it's a murder mystery dinner. Someone's going to be killed that night.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah, that should be interesting. All right. Sunday, the Valley Warriors Against Cancer are having a fundraiser. Let's see if I can see it. Yeah, Sunday the 22nd at 5 p.m. And it's Valley Drop Time. I'm not sure where that is, but it's out at Valley, and it's a fundraiser for the Warriors Against Cancer, and they do a lot of work. They help people in the area in our county that are fighting cancer. So
very cool.
Yeah, that's a good one to support.
So I kind of want to go back to the theater, or not the theater, the dinner, which reminded me of the theater.
Yeah.
And our the radio play that we KCHW and Park Avenue Players are teaming up on.
Yes.
I went to the first read through on Sunday night, and I literally got goosebumps.
Oh yeah.
It was amazing. It is going to be so good.
All the new people that have come and that want to try out, 15 to 17 people, she said somewhere about that.
Yeah, I saw faces in there that have never stepped foot in that theater before.
Yeah,
so that's very exciting.
Yeah, it was. All right. And Monday is pickleball and sit and knit. Next Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday and Wednesday. I've seen some questions about this on Facebook.
Okay.
It is the Chipper Day for the city.
Yes.
From 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And there is a limit in the length of the logs, the sticks, and you trim your branches. There's a limit on how big around, and I think it's big.
I think it's 12. It's 12 inches around and 10 feet long, or vice versa.
Yeah,
so
something like that. It wouldn't be 10 feet long around.
I don't think it's that big, and I don't think it's that long, Chuck.
Well, it's 10 inches around and 12 feet long, or 12 inches around and 10 feet long.
Okay, I thought it was 6 feet long, but it doesn't really matter. It is a wonderful thing if you're out there cleaning branches, or if you've saved them through the summer because you've been pruning trees. You just take them back out to the lagoons, they call them, out at the end of, I don't remember the name of that street.
Oh, here I have the information here.
Oh, good.
So that's October 24th and Wednesday, October 25th. It's for city residents only. You have to be prepared to show your city bill or another proof of residency. That is at the Recycle Center and Wastewater Treatment Plant. That's 120 South Hunt Street.
That's the name.
Hunt Street. It's if you go out the west of Main Avenue, you kind of wind around those houses at the end and just keep going through the field right there at the end.
Yep.
Just go until you can't go anymore. And
Yeah.
that is 10 feet long by 12 inches in diameter.
Oh, you got the
yep.
information. Good
You were
job.
right. I thought you were totally off.
They do want to specify that no treated lumber is allowed because it's because of the chemicals, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, because
So-
they put it in their compost pile,
Yep.
and people can go out and take compost
Yep.
as it composts.
So no garbage, no treated lumber.
Yeah. And then on Friday, okay, this is coming off my head thing. On Friday of next week, the 27th, I know this is going to be sad for some people, but the golf course's 18 holes closes. And with the weather the way it is now, people are out there golfing still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But if Scott's right about the cold weather, they're not going to want to be golfing. They're going to want to be skiing.
Right. Yeah. One of those days when it's supposed to get down to the 20s, it's supposed to be rain. It's calling for rain and freezing weather. You know what that means?
That means snow.
Ooh, that's a
Yeah.
bad word. I don't want to hear it.
And a week from Friday is Bradley's Taekwondo Kids Haunted House, and it is not at the
Is it at the Taekwondo Center? Yes.
Nope. There's,
No.
Yeah, there's two. The Taekwondo is putting on two. One of them is called Kids Friendly, Family Oriented, and it is at 710 West Valley Avenue in Chihuahua. And that's going to be one that's not quite as scary as the one at the Taekwondo place.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's the scarier one that's at Taekwondo,
Right.
and then this is another one. It's at an individual's house that they were doing in conjunction with that one.
Right, and it's they're both support Bradley's Taekwondo.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you really want to get sugared up, there is so much going on, and we're going to talk about them next week. But there's things at the casino, at the golf course, at downtown.
Abundant Life has a trunk or treat. Rusty
Yep.
Putter has a trunk or treat. There's stuff
Right.
all over the area.
Yep.
Boo Fest, Bradley's. It's just, there is no excuse not to get your year's supply of candy.
Right.
That's what it would be for me too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Did you catch that blood drive next Wednesday?
No,
The 25th?
I didn't.
Yeah, there's
I didn't see
there's
that.
a blood drive going on at 301 East Clay in Chihuahua. I haven't heard of this unless they've changed the name. It's Vitalant blood drive. Maybe INBC in Spokane changed their name. That's who usually has done the blood drives before. And that is at the Civic Center from 1 to 6 p.m. on Wednesday, October 25th. And they have all sorts of Halloween pictures for their blood drive. It's kind of cute.
Nice.
I saw that name on a van or a big blood mobile somewhere going through town. So they may have changed their name.
It used to be the Inland Northwest Blood Center, INBC, and I
Right.
believe they have changed their name because that was
Yeah.
the only place I was familiar with that went around the area and did blood drives. So there you go, just in time for Halloween. I have another one, if everybody else is done, that I wanted to share.
Okay.
All right, and this is coming from one of our volunteers. The gal who helps us out with our what do you call them? Grants. Melissa
Yeah,
Silvio.
yes.
She's also part of the Valley Historical Society, and I promised I'd give her some press on this. It's the Raise the Roof fundraising campaign for the Little White Schoolhouse in Valley. They're trying to raise money to repair the roof so they can move in with some of their other projects, which is a complete restoration of the schoolhouse, and it will be reopening as a museum and a small art gallery in Valley. This is a cool thing for Valley. If you want to help them out, the GoFundMe link is on their Facebook page, and of course that's facebook.com/Little White Schoolhouse. All right.
Yes.
So easy to find.
Nice.
You go out and support them. They are a 501c3 nonprofit, so donations are tax deductible. There you go.
Very
Well,
cool.
Yep, and another one that Chuck should be promoting for us is the Chihuahua Creative District has a call for artists.
Oh yeah, for Light in the Darkness.
Yes, deadline is December 2nd, and sometimes it takes an artist a while to get their
It does.
get what they're going to give. So it says the Chihuahua Creative District is partnering with the Chihuahua Golf and Country host I just skipped words. Country Club to host a juried art exhibition. This event will be held at the Chewelah Golf Club and will include music, drink specials, and artwork by Creative District Creative members. That's Creative District Creative. That's kind of weird.
Who wrote that?
Yeah.
Chuck?
It wasn't me, I swear.
But it says the event is in January. Submission deadlines are December 2nd. The theme is the renewal and reflection that January brings.
Yeah.
So, and medium is 2D and 3D work. And so that's just sounds like something really good. Any questions? Jamie at jag929@email.com.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I will have to say, especially looking forward to events, we don't want to say too much because it's just in the early planning phases, but the Winterfest is on for this year.
Yes.
The skiing portion and the art portion from Tim Nielsen at the over at the Trails End Gallery, and also the like I said, the city doing the putting back in the ski jumps and all the stuff they did last year. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. And before we get to that one, we will actually get to city sidewalks. And
Yeah.
we haven't heard anything much about them except it's coming up December 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've
So
got a lot
much
of
stuff going on.
on in Chewelah. It's so fun to be here.
So we've had Lavon Ellis in here. She's been volunteering, doing a lot of stuff. She's our news director now, doing the daily news for us. She was telling me the other day, she's like, man, this little town has so much stuff going on. She's like, every day there's something new going on. How do you guys even keep up?
Isn't that fun? Yeah. Especially when we had all those naysayers for a while that said, there's nothing to do in Chewelah.
There is.
I think old Mike kind of squashed that rumor out that there was nothing to do.
I think so, too.
Right?
I loved listening to his radio station or radio show, and I miss him. Yeah. Have we heard from him? How's he doing?
I haven't heard from him in a while. I better check on him, right?
Yeah.
I heard from him yesterday.
Oh,
I didn't.
wow.
Well, he sent me an email, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't really talk to him. But yeah, he's still going good. Someone that I know went and stayed with him for a while.
Nice.
I guess probably about a month or so ago. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing.
Oh,
good. I
he's
guess
taking guests?
right. We'll put the address on our Facebook
page. Need to get out of town for a couple days? Mike's hosting people. All right. I got one question, and because I was working on computers in the background, the trick-or-treat for Boo Fest from the Chamber, as we trick-or-treat businesses on the 31st, 3:30 to 5:30, it says a costume contest by the Chewelah Creative District. You guys know where that is? Where's that taking place at?
The costume contest, there's going to be photos and a photo booth, and I believe it's going to be a viral vote for that costume contest. Don't quote me on that because I've not been at the planning meetings for that. But yeah, it'll be at the Aaron Huff Memorial Center.
Okay,
is where the costume contest is going to be. So it'll be indoors where it's warm and not raining. Hopefully, it's not raining.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah,
all the details available. It says at chewelah.org.
Yeah. And it's going to be on Halloween. So
how nice.
Some of these other parties are on the weekend before. So it's, you can, like I said, you can get sugared up. Yeah.
That's always good. Good.
All right, I got a public service announcement here. A new rash across the country of skimmers. You guys have heard of these credit card skimmers?
Yes.
Well, they're back and they're a little more fancy. Ways to avoid being a skimmer victim. So what these are, they're components that will plug right into the existing card slot.
Oh my.
So there used to be big things that would mount on the front of them and be fairly obvious. They've got a little more cleverer with their card slots. It says to sidestep the snares of credit card skimmers, be observant and take specific precautionary actions when using terminals and ATMs. Here you go. Start by inspecting the card slot. Skimming devices often present as unusual overlays, are mismatched in color from the rest of the ATM, or have some protruding parts. And they've got a picture online where like the place to inject your card sticks out a whole card length. That's a fake.
Yeah.
It should be going inside the machine.
Yeah.
So beware of any of those anomalies, or if your spidey sense is just going off, Chuck.
Right.
Yeah.
I have active spidey senses.
Okay.
If there's a guy standing next to you with a camera pointed at you, that's probably a scammer.
Tamper evidence security seal is often placed across card terminals, especially on gas pumps. If this seal appears broken or tampered with, avoid the machine. So it's like a strip that goes across the keypad area. Mm-hmm. A compromised seal can be an immediate red flag indicating a skimmer's presence. If you're in doubt, just pay at the cash register. Don't be so lazy.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And if you spot one, inform the business, but it could be a chance that they're doing it. So.
Oh, my. That's scary.
It is. I lost my car. I had my information stolen one time, and I left Chihuahua and went into Spokane, and I did like a U from up Nevada and back down on, I don't know, Maple or Ash, and hit all the thrift stores. And when I come back, somebody at one of the thrift stores had cloned my card. So it can happen to you anywhere.
Wow.
All right. There's your safety tip for today. How's that? All right. I think I see your guest waiting to get in, Chuck. Yep. If you are ready to go to break, while you guys were talking, I set us up and I bumped our sponsor announcement up earlier.
Okay.
So we can just roll that out. And who's joining us after the break, Chuck?
It's going to be Larry Fetter. He's going to be telling us about the city's Parks and Recs plan, a little bit about this open house event tomorrow night.
Yeah.
All right. Stay right here. It's KCHW 102.7.
You're listening to 102.7 KCHW, Chihuahua.
It's 8:02.
Your KCHW morning show is made possible by donations from Chihuahua Flooring.
Hey, Scott, so I'm just muting Solus really quick while we get Larry on. Am I cutting the audio to the Facebook feed by doing this?
Yeah, and just so you know, that's live. Sorry, folks.
Oh, that was live?
No, yeah, you're live on Facebook. You can't stop it.
Oh,
so even when you cut us off the radio, you're live. So just talk to him briefly and send the feedback down the line.
Okay. Okay, Larry, we're getting you set up, and we'll be on back live in about 5 or 6 minutes.
Sounds good. I'll hold tight.
All right.
with 30 amp service. For reservations, they can be reached at 509-935-4763 or ChihuahuaMotelAndRVPark.com. Chihuahua Motel and RV Park, 301 South Park Street in Chihuahua.
Your KCHW morning show made possible by a donation from God-Fearing Brothers Auto Center. God-Fearing Brothers specializes in auto services, including repair, maintenance, and detailing. They also stock a full selection of tires, make glass repairs, offer towing, and have an auto sales lot on the corner of Highway 395 and Main Street at the light. For more information, you can visit the Auto Service Center at 806 East Main in Chihuahua. Find them online at godfearingbrothers.com or by phone at 509-935-6414. KCHW-FM thanks God-Fearing Brothers for supporting public radio in Stevens County.
This is KCHW, Chihuahua, 102.7 FM.
The Public News Service Daily Newscast, October the 18th, 2023. I'm Mike Clifford. In the wake of significant protests by Jewish people supporting Palestinian rights this week, thousands are set to assemble on Capitol Hill today.
At a recent demonstration in Brooklyn, New York, the group Jewish Voice for Peace Action reported over 50 arrests, including that of an 81-year-old peace advocate. The group, including Michiganders and activists from across the nation, is in Washington, D.C. today. Rachel Evans with JBP says their view is that it's time for the U.S. to stop sending weapons.
Choose ceasefire, not genocide. As Jews, we say never again for anyone. The Israeli government is dehumanizing Palestinians, calling them animals, and our government is repeating misinformation.
Pro-Israel rallies are also being planned around the country. A Marist poll found 63% of the Americans in its survey said that they strongly support Israel, but there are generational and racial divides. Michigan boasts one of the largest Palestinian American populations in the nation. Evans shared her experience during a demonstration at Michigan University and said schools statewide are calling for action. Farah Siddiqui reporting.
Meantime, President Biden's trip to Jordan has been canceled following the deadly hospital attack in Gaza. The White House said Tuesday when the president was leaving to head to Israel. That from the Hill. According to a senior White House official, after consulting with King Abdullah II of Jordan, and in light of the days of mourning announced by President Abbas, President Biden will postpone his travel to Jordan and the planned meeting with these two leaders, as well as the president of Egypt. Meantime, fire scientists are combining traditional methods with artificial intelligence to fight fires in states like Montana and across the Southwest.
Fire science experts have used natural fire breaks, roads, bridges, and land masses as ways to slow fires for a long time. Now they're adding AI to the mix. With spatial analytical data and satellite imagery, fire managers use potential operational delineations, or pods, to draw lines on a map that allow them to predict fire behavior now and in the future. Kit O'Connor with the U.S. Forest Service says pods are like geographical containers, but not always just for fighting a fire while it's burning.
But it's to give you that bite-sized unit that you need so that you can start to think about the values that you're managing across the landscape and manage them kind of bite by bite instead of trying to take on everything all at once.
O'Connor says while creating these pods, fire managers also draw on the knowledge of local landowners. I'm Mark Moran.
O'Connor says this type of planning is safer for firefighters in the urban wildland interface and also with people who live there. This is Public News Service. It's been going on for a while, a looming threat of federal government shutdown and chaos in Congress. They pushed the Farm Bill negotiations to the side. Ohio food banks say the uncertainty around the federal funding is compounding the struggles to meet demand.
The deadline to reauthorize the nation's largest food and agriculture legislative package was last month. Jessica Semenchko with the Greater Cleveland Food Bank says in the past year, her organization served nearly 350,000 Northeast Ohioans across 6 counties, a significant increase from 2021. She says in order to operate at high volume, food banks need reliable funding.
We can't afford to let the cost of uncertainty of the threat of another shutdown and the lack of a bipartisan agreement to fund critical programs and services of the federal government to be borne by vulnerable Americans.
Rising fuel costs and higher food prices are further straining food banks' ability to meet demand. According to the Ohio Association of Food Banks, over a 3-month period in 2022, the state's pantries served more than 2 million people. Nadia Ramlagan reporting.
And a recent report finds that black people make up the majority of a state prison population. That state is Connecticut.
The Prison Policy Initiative brief finds black people comprise 43% of the incarcerated population, 3 times higher than the national average, yet they only make up 10% of the state's general population. Between 2017 and 2022, the state reduced its prison population, though it has seen recent increases. Wanda Bertram with the Prison Policy Initiative says decisions at a local level dictate what's leading to mass incarceration.
It has a lot to do with how policing works and how courts work, and also, in a big way, how social services work.
I'm Edwin J. Vieira.
Finally, Ross Brown lets us know the long-awaited Wisconsin Wolf Management Plan is up for adoption next week.
The updated draft management plan includes rules to govern any future recreational wolf killing seasons. In late 2022, the DNR released a draft plan that wolf advocates were ready to accept. But since then, Kim Hollis with the group Friends of the Wisconsin Wolves and Wildlife says another revised plan has surfaced.
We kind of got the rug pulled out from under us because at the last minute the plan was changed. It's not at all similar to the original draft plan.
2 years ago, Wisconsin hunters killed 218 wolves in a week, far exceeding the state's limit of 119. That resulted in a lawsuit against the DNR by animal welfare groups. I'm Roz Brown.
A bill has been introduced in the Wisconsin legislature to force the DNR to include a hard cap on the state's wolf population. This is Mike Clifford for Public News Service, member and listener supported. Here's on great radio stations, your favorite podcast platform. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
Good morning. Welcome back to part 2 of the KCHW Morning Show. We're joined here live with Larry Fetter to tell us a little bit about this open house tomorrow night, a little bit about what the Parks and Rec is working on. Morning, Larry. How you doing?
Good. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning. We're kind of on the Facebook feed. We're kind of going back and forth on the video. My brain couldn't figure out how to get you both on your own feed this morning, so you'll be camera 1, camera 2 as you're speaking.
Sounds good.
So tell us a little bit about what you've got going on about this open house tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's pretty exciting. The city has recruited me to do a park and recreation plan. We've talked about that on other shows, and that's been going since last February. It's a large group of what I call a task force, the mayor's task force for parks and recreation. 20 members of pretty significant group of people that have been helping me monthly guide this project. So we've been working again since last February, and we have some pretty exciting ideas in the works, and we want to share those with anyone who's interested. And there's a lot of interest. So we have an open house coming up tomorrow, October 19th, starting at 6 o'clock at the Civic Center. And the Civic Center is right next to the library at City Hall there in Chewelah. So we have 10 stations set up inside the center, and they will highlight or showcase various parts of the project. So let's say you're interested in trails, you can just go to the trail section. But most people, I think, are going to want to check out all the stations. It's educational and fun. You can look at what's being proposed for Chewelah's what we call a master plan. So things that we intend to accomplish in 5 to 10 years. Every one of these projects that's proposed has its own funding strategy. So it's a pretty comprehensive park and recreation master plan for the city. So that's the highlight. Do you guys have questions, or I can kind of walk you through some of the stations a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead. Do you have any questions, Sharon?
No, I'm just excited to be there.
Yeah, thank you. We've got the task force members will be kind of stationing each of these spots. So if they have a particular interest in one of these topics, that's where they're at. So I'll just walk you through a few of them. And then this won't replace coming to the open house because there's lots of what we have to show is visual, of course. And so you're going to want to come there to actually see pictures of concepts and so forth. So the first station is representing the survey work. We started, you might remember, in the spring, we had a public survey, gigantic response. We had 798 responses over 3 months, which is huge.
Wow.
It's about 30% of Chewelah's population, which is a little mind-blowing. So that feedback is structured and organized and at that station. So if you want to know what the general thoughts were about trails, you can kind of dive into that. if you want to know what the thoughts were about replacing the swimming pool, there's a section there. So you can kind of see demographically what people are interested in Chewelah. And there have been a few surprises, but not really. We knew that swimming pools were going to be high up on the list because we lost our pool now about 10 years ago. So no big surprise there, but a lot of interesting ideas came out of that public survey work. And those ideas, many of those are going to be represented at this open house. So that's the first station. We have the next station is underserved neighborhoods, which Chewelah, interestingly, you don't really think of it that way, but we actually have about half of the amount of park space that you would expect for a population our size. And the way that gets figured is, the national standard is 10 acres for every 1,000 people in your population. So we should have somewhere in the neighborhood of 27, 28 acres, and we currently have 14. So we're right about half of what we should be. So to correct that over time, we really want to be strategic about where those parks should be. And so we know we've identified 3 neighborhoods that are underserved. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. So basically the south end of town, if you choose Main Street as a dividing line, on the southeast and the southwest neighborhoods, those are underserved. There are no parks in those areas. And as the city begins to grow, it should be looking for opportunities in those neighborhoods to create a park that's within walking distance of those neighborhoods. So that's definitely on the want list. So those are 2 neighborhoods. The third neighborhood is a little more interesting because Chewelah is unique. We've got a large percentage of our population lives at the golf course, Chewelah North, and that population has no parks. So we got the airport and the golf course. We've talked about this before, but there is no public park. So if you want to take your granddaughter, grandchild to the park, you got to get them in the car and drive down to the main city park to get access to that recreation facility. So there are some ideas that if that neighborhood is interested, they could look at developing a park closer to home. Mm-hmm. So that's part of what's being showcased. There are some opportunities in those 3 underserved neighborhoods. I don't want to spoil anything. So if you want to know what's being thought about, show up and come check it out.
They're not just going to turn the
I've got a question regarding that, Larry. Is what happens when we talk about having parks in those areas? Over the past few years, the city owned different spaces of land throughout town, and those have I've noticed some of them, or if not all, have been sold off. So once that gets turned around as okay, we want to make a park in this area. How do we secure the land?
We're looking at city-owned properties first, or publicly owned properties first. So that makes it easier. Obviously, that's a really good question, Scott. So, that's kind of the low-hanging fruit is what does the city currently own? Is it functioning well? Say the disc golf course, which is on the northwest section of town, it's 5 acres. It's pretty good size, but it doesn't really function very well as a park. So as Pine Brook neighborhood develops, you're going to have more neighbors adjacent to that 5 acres. And it's really undeveloped mostly. So that could accommodate some of these ideas that came out of the survey, one of which is a dog park. It could that could be the home of the future dog park. So that's one of the ideas that the stakeholder group is focusing on. There are other ideas about that facility. But your point's valid. However, in the underserved areas, on to the south, we probably would need to be strategic about, okay, let's say a developer wants to develop 56 acres in southeast Chewelah. And those proposals are not imagined. That actually could happen. So with this policy in place, we would talk to the developer and say, look, we need a park in this neighborhood. We'd like you to dedicate some of your property as you develop this this parcel, this acreage, And so that benefits the city and it benefits the developer, because I think people know that if your house is next to a park, it's worth more than if it's further away from a park. And that's true for golf courses. It's true for natural features like waterways, lakes, that kind of stuff. So if your house literally is up against a golf course, it's, let's say you have the same house in Chewelah South and you move it up to the golf course, it's worth a lot more. So using that same logic, it's easy to talk to developers because they're smart people, and they'll strategically build their primary homes, residences around those parks and trails, because they know that those are going to be worth more. They're going to be sold first. So everyone wants a little more elbow room around their home, and that's one way to get it. Another strategic way to do that is around schools. A lot of people like to live next to schools because it's a big open space, or they have kids next door. So those are conversations that this plan identifies, and that becomes one of the mechanisms for creating new parks.
Well, you mentioned that southeast area of Chewelah. There's that apartment complex over there too. It'd probably be nice to have a park nearby for people living there.
Yeah, whenever you have that level of density, which is good because people need, affordable housing.
Right.
But it also increases the need to have more space outdoors to do stuff. So it's not uncommon to have, kind of urban parks adjacent to downtown areas so that people can have those opportunities to get out and enjoy nature, or, have a picnic spot or a place to throw a Frisbee or whatever they want to do.
Right.
Those things, as you're planning your downtown, really should be considered. So good points.
Yeah.
Right. In these considerations, we've brought up the pool before, and when you've been on the radio, we've talked about the pool. I was looking at the flyer, and it says trails, rec center, playground, swimming pool. Would the swimming pool be something theoretically that is contained within the rec center, or two different locations?
Thanks for bringing that up, Scott, because that point has really evolved. When we first started this study, we didn't really have a good idea what this community was interested in. And that's really evolved to a recreation/aquatic center. And there is a proposed development for that. So, and last time we were on, we talked about, what that might look like for Chewelah. Usually a rec center has a gymnasium. Usually there's a fitness component, where people can go work out. And then thirdly, there is an aquatic element, and usually those have sometimes a competitive pool, lap swimming, that kind of stuff, and then a warm water pool or therapy pool, or a what they call a leisure pool, which has zero entry, and those usually have water walkways, lazy rivers, that kind of stuff. And they almost all have slides nowadays, and they become family centers. And so that's what Chewelah says it wants. And so big shock. But we've come up with a plan. Now, if we were to just go build that somewhere, the price tag is huge. It's $20 million. So if we were to just, roll up our sleeves and go do that, it would be a Hail Mary pass at best, right? So it's like, okay, how are we going to make this happen? $20 million that's a lot of money for this community. So we have come up with a $5 million option that gets all those things. And so I'll tell you a little bit about that idea right now. Now imagine, you have to kind of just use your imagination here a little bit, but at the Civic Center, we did get a $1.5 million grant to renovate the Civic Center. And so we will be this fall starting to recruit developers to renovate the Civic Center. So that's going to be a facelift for the auditorium. The kitchen, we've talked about that, is going to get redone. There will be an office space, ADA restrooms, that kind of thing. So this will become the hub for a park and recreation department. So if you want to sign your kids up for gymnastics, or you want to, sign them up for Little League, this is a place that you can do that. You can sign yourself up for aerobics, stop in and get maps about where to go kayaking or trail walking. That's kind of your one-stop shop for that kind of activity. And the Civic Center really is in a good spot for that, right next to the library. We've been talking to the library about some shared use ideas. They need a meeting space, and so does the city. So we're talking about sharing a meeting space in this renovated center. So that's the inside. The other half of that 1.5 million is going to renovate the parking lot, which there isn't much of a parking lot right now. So that is in the works as well. So in the next year, all of a sudden, you've got a pretty major investment in a civic center, which will improve the use as it is. But here's where it gets interesting. Imagine that you have a fire station next door, which we do, and imagine that fire station accommodates two departments, the City of Chewelah and Fire District number 4. And let's say that there's just kind of, there's too much activity going on for that small box that they're in. It's actually a pretty big box, but for two fire departments, it's underserved. So if you walk through there, they know that they're kind of stepping all over each other. It's been good and bad for them to be in close proximity. They're interested in a new home somewhere else. So we've started to ask them, well, what would that look like? Where would you go? Where would you want to be in an ideal spot for a new fire station? And there's money out there for fire stations. So that's an easy conversation to have with these folks. So if they did move, we would want to situate them, in a spot that's better for them. But then we could renovate the old fire station into the fitness box for the recreation center. And then the final box would be a new wing or a new part of the building that would be the aquatic component. And so at the open house, we've got a scheme or a concept image that shows what that development might look like. And so it's pretty interesting. All of a sudden, instead of a $20 million project, that's a $5 million project. So it's relatively doable for a community this size.
Yeah.
And a lot of space there with the grass, and open space toward, would that be the east side of the building too?
Yeah, so Scott, the east side of the building is projected to be the parking lot. We need to improve that parking situation. A hospital uses that area over there. It's really kind of a mess. The city for years has stored snow there, and it's quite wet and turns into a bog, and it's really kind of unkept, actually. So we've been talking to the hospital about a shared parking arrangement. So this $1.5 million will create a new parking lot there. So that's going to happen. And it's going to be, right now, it's intended to be a shared parking lot between the hospital and the city for the Civic Center, which is a good complementary use because their use is different than the Civic Center's use would be. So when the city's using it, there's kind of low volume at the hospital. Most of their business is during the daytime with people coming to appointments and that kind of stuff. So it's a very interesting conversation, and we already have a big chunk of money to get moving on it. So that's the recreation/aquatic center.
Right.
And the pool is interesting because people have said, well, I'd really like it to be an outdoor pool. I'd really like it to be an indoor pool. I want both. So
you can't have both kids.
What we're conceiving is just that. You can create a pool with roll-up doors, so that in the summertime you get it can be kind of an outdoor space. But in the wintertime, you roll those doors down, and then you have both. And then the final element there would be a splash pad as part of that development. So that would be a seasonal program just outside of the Civic Center, but adjacent to it. And so, splash pad, you've seen them where kids can just come hang out, and we don't really have a splash pad or a wading pool in town. So those become great, family fun activity things to do. And some of it's indoor, some of it's outdoor, but that's the big plan, if you will, for an indoor outdoor pool.
Wow. I like it. Yeah, and I was thinking about that as you started mentioning the fire department. As you're talking about this pool center, and I was like, what if the fire department moved? But yeah, and then you started saying it, so yeah, to me that makes a lot of
We
sense.
were a little nervous about bringing the topic up with them because it's like, maybe they're happy and just don't want to move, but turns out that they're tripping over each other, and they were pretty interested in the conversation. So, none of this is a done deal.
Right.
We need to keep moving this idea forward. But if it creates a new home for them that they're happier about and can serve the community better, then everyone wins, and they get a place to go work out.
Right. Well, to me,
like
to me, it makes sense.
Sorry, Chuck.
Oh, that's okay. No, I was just saying it makes sense. The city already owns that building, and like you said, there is more money available for fire departments than there is for recreation. So that's a little easier swing than trying to build a whole new facility. I like that.
Yeah, especially with their increased fire dangers in our area. I bet you there's lots of grants and money out there to try and combat that. So, wow. You guys have been doing some great work. That's amazing news. What do you think, Larry, what does this, if it's accomplished and everything? I mean, I have ideas in my mind. And over the years, working at the radio station, talking with different mayors and community leaders, why... especially when our middle school and high school got combined into one, what is the draw for people to bring new residents into Chewelah for sustained growth and new jobs and that kind of stuff? And one of the drawbacks was like school facilities, losing the swimming pool and stuff. What do you see as in like the big picture in the future if we can pull this off? What does it bring to Chewelah? Do you have some feelings or thoughts on that?
It's more intuitive, isn't it, Scott? Like, that people are interested in a higher quality of living, and we've got some competition, right? So you've got Deer Park and Colville, which, have made significant investments in their quality of living. Colville's got the swimming pool, and Deer Park is moving ahead because, they're really becoming a bedroom community to Spokane. But we're next. After Deer Park, we're next. So people who are interested in coming to these smaller communities for all the benefits that it offers, it's going to be an easier decision for them if you've got a great rec center. You've got a good school system. Why wouldn't I be interested in moving my family from Seattle over here? Mm-hmm. And now many people work remotely. And so it becomes a different conversation. It's like employment becomes less significant than it was if people can work remotely, and that's happening a lot. So we know that just intuitively, the return on your investment is pretty high. So if you develop a facility like this, if you have, a trail system that kind of links these facilities together, you've got a plan for the future so that you don't have underserved neighborhoods. It starts to change the attraction to people. I had a meeting with Windermere Real Estate a couple of weeks ago, and I was sharing this information with them, and you could see their eyes light up like, we would, when we're touring people around, and they're thinking about Colville, and they're thinking about Chewelah, and they're thinking about other places. We'd love to be able to talk about something like this because it starts to change the way people look or think about Chewelah. And so we know this is true because, look at the ski hill. It's a major recreational attraction. Mm-hmm. Look at the golf course. That investment has certainly paid off for that neighborhood. And now you've got a casino on our doorstep, which, whether you like it or not, it's going to bring people into the area. So, it's starting to change who's interested in living in this region.
Right.
It's both good and bad, right? But it does put you in a much more competitive situation when you're trying to build your school system. It's like, okay, now we got some growth where our population is going up, not down. So we've got some strong partners at the table, including the school district, saying, look, in the hospitals, et cetera, how are we going to recruit people to our hospitals if they don't want to live here? Or they want to commute from Spokane. Those are real conversations that that this kind of investment helps change. So sorry for rambling,
No,
but
that's okay.
to answer your question, Scott, just intuitively, that there's a pretty good return on your investment, but it's a little hard to quantify.
Well, and you bring up those remote jobs. Economically speaking, those are people that move here and they bring that income from other places and deposit it here in Chewelah. So I think really focusing on those remotely employed people, getting those people in here to that can contribute and create more jobs, create more spending right here in Chewelah, and increase the tax base.
And frankly, we want people with with that kind of background to help us form how Chewelah is going to be. So you're recruiting talent into your resident mix too. So, and
Exactly.
I'm an example of someone who I grew up in Chewelah, relocated back to Chewelah, wasn't really planning to, but it offers a lot of what I'm interested in. So here I am, and I'm not alone. There's plenty of people who would consider moving to Chewelah if they knew what it had to offer and what it is going to offer in the future. So yeah, that's exactly right, Chuck. Yep.
Well, and I want to bring up to the Civic Center. There's been talk of a commercial kitchen in the Civic Center, which could be another, like a shared use kitchen, which could bring another opportunity for small businesses and employment here. People manufacturing their own baked goods or cooked goods or canned goods or whatever. Pop-up restaurants.
That's definitely the plan. Right now, it's an old elementary school kitchen, doesn't really offer too much. It's got the same stove from when I was there in 6th grade, so it's pretty old. But it needs a facelift, and we're figuring that out right now. What's the target for that kitchen? And kitchens can really soak up a lot of your budget, so we got to be thoughtful about that. But definitely going to be a certified kitchen.
Yep.
Well, it's,
So within sorry, go ahead.
it's also fun to be on the bottom. I mean, on the planning stage. So it just doesn't happen willy-nilly. Sometimes you see communities that just grow and there's no planning. So it's just an exciting time to be in Chewelah with the planning, the growth, and everything that's happening here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I agree with you, of course. And my plan, I should say, Chewelah's plan for park and recreation builds on other plans that have been done previously.
Right.
So it's not disconnected from what the city calls the sub-area plan, or it's not disconnected from other trail ideas. It more integrates those former ideas into, and for a good example of that is WashDOT is going to come through and repave 395, and right now they're scheduled for 2025. And I don't know if you guys have seen their concepts for that, but because of the Complete Streets program, they're going to be creating some pedestrian components. So walkways to get across 395 safely, which, boy, do we need that. Signalized lights, to get people across. Also, bike lanes are proposed, and the city's working through those. But those bike lanes can integrate into the city's trail system. And then, speaking of trails, part of my plan, or part of the city's plan, will be to have a complete trail system from Missisquoi Casino all the way up to the golf course, and even a connection to Gold Hill. So if you're interested in that idea, we've got a whole section of trails that you can go to and see what that looks like conceptually. And then we would just build that in segments as we go. So there's a whole conversation around just trails that's going to be available at this open house.
Can we get like a ski lift sort of thing to tow our bikes up the hill, and then we can coast back down?
Wouldn't that be cool? The ski hill, what a good neighbor. They're pretty creative. I've even heard, maybe you guys know, I've heard some rumors about a bobsled kind of a activity that's being thought about for our ski hill. So you get some year-round use, and expanding to have trail system, for BMX biking. That's a big sport in the summertime, brings people in. So it doesn't have to be just, skiing and snowboarding. It can be for other things too. So have you guys heard about that bobsled idea?
I haven't, no.
I haven't either.
Yeah, supposedly in Leavenworth, I should do some fact checking here, but in Leavenworth, supposedly there's a bobsled that runs, it's on a rail, so you run it in the summertime, And yeah, you take the ski lift up, and that's how you get down, is on a bobsled thing that's like a roller coaster.
I've done it before. It's awesome.
Those are
In
really big.
Leavenworth?
It wasn't in Leavenworth. It was in South Dakota.
Yeah,
Okay.
those are really big in the South too. I forget what they call them, but yeah,
And,
they're
you know-
crazy and they're fun.
Yeah, and I think I remember the ski hill talking about something about this at the chamber, but I don't remember that name. They had a different name rather than bobsled. But
Yeah, I'm
there's a
probably
name
not
for
using the
that
right
thing.
terminology, but
Yeah.
I'd love to know if that's a real idea or if it's just, kind of rumored. But boy, that would be pretty cool. People would be, I'd be into it. I know other people would be too.
We used to live in
I'm not a
Pigeon Forge.
skier, but I would pay money to just like in the summertime be able to ride the chairlift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe I'm
just
weird.
go up and go down. Yeah.
So if
just
I
to- yeah, that's a really good point, especially if you could go, to the top and have lunch or see a big, a vista or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, lots of communities do that, especially we've got this natural resource, in this valley. It's a great view from up there.
That's what I was going to say. Where I grew up, there was the ski lift in the local in Alaska. There was the ski lift went to the restaurant, and you got off the ski lift at the
Oh, wow.
restaurant, and then you went out and went. Well, I mean, it dropped you off right in front of the restaurant, so you could either go in the restaurant, or you could go down the hill.
You
And,
could just text in your order on your way up, huh?
Yeah, and it stays open year round, so you ride the ski lift up, and it's up to the very peak, at the highest point in the mountain.
Yeah.
And
Well, you've got all this infrastructure, so why not, right?
Yeah. And I think the
Yeah.
ski hill is in the process of building a restaurant at the top. I don't know if it's just in the architecture phase or if they're in the building phase, but they talk about that at chamber too.
Wow.
Yeah. Those are pretty exciting ideas. Even the investment that our golf course has made in their clubhouse, and they get accolades all the time. It's very interesting to talk to those folks and find out how many awards they get for such a great golf course. So we're pretty lucky that way, but those just all support the work that I'm doing, because it shows, making an investment is a good business decision for Chewelah. So the more of the stuff that we can offer and make available, the return on your investment is pretty high.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate and pretend I'm a business owner in Chewelah and I own lots of square footage and properties around town. I'm going to come to your event and I'm going to ask you, do I need to be concerned with these ideas about bonds or levies?
So when you say concerned, I would say interested. Why wouldn't you be? Especially, let's say, Scott, that you have a lot of square footage and half of it's empty, and your concern should be, how can I fill up these spaces? What's the right thing to do? So I would be interested in finding out, well, does this plan offer anything that's going to bring people into this community, and so I can fill this space up? That'd be the right business question, is what's it going to take to get people in, instead of having empty, rental space, what's it going to take to fill those up? So I'd be more interested in, like, okay, yeah, you're offering a recreation center, sign me up, because I want to bring more people into town. That's going to be more renters, more business activity, the kind of customers you want to see that have, available money, discretionary money. So those are good points. But to really get at the point of your question, Chewelah is going to be better able to accomplish these things with a park and recreation district, which is not unique. It's, in fact, Kettle Falls created a park district so that they could support their swimming pool. That happened a couple years ago. So there is the ability to create a park district in Chewelah to accomplish a lot of these activities. And we could be much more successful with grant writing, because then you've got resources to match other resources against. So that is definitely a recommendation, is to consider developing a park district for the Chewelah region, which probably would be the school district boundaries, because those boundaries already exist. So you would then double your population. So instead of 2,700, you've got 5,600. residents, and that has to get voted into place, just like a fire district would be, just like any other kind of a district.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got some more resources available to do this kind of stuff. So to your point, Scott, why would you be willing to do that? Well, because you believe in the plan and you like what it would bring to Chewelah, and you see it as a good business decision.
Yep. Well,
I've just heard that, and the reason why I did that was just because I've heard that comment before when new things have hit Chewelah. Well, I don't want to see my taxes go up.
Right.
But and I was just giving you a chance to basically turn around and say, well, look at the bigger picture, what it could do for all the properties that you own.
Yeah. If you like empty storefronts, just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, and to kind of add to that, there's, and it's the same with small towns all across the country. There's a lot of, I wouldn't call it fight, but kind of resistance to growth. People saying we like Chewelah the way it is, we don't want it to grow. Well, you can't really stop that. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. What we can do, and what I think the city has done a really good job of doing, is inviting the community in to help control that growth and decide what we want the future of Chewelah to look like, as opposed to just, random uncontrolled growth, which is where a lot of problems happen.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. We've got some good leadership, in my opinion, in Chewelah, and this plan represents a lot of what, the foundation of my work is what Chewelah has told me it wants.
Yep.
So sometimes you got to be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
Because you just might get it.
Right.
All right.
But, since I've been here, and this is not to blow my own horn, but we have gotten a couple of pretty significant grants that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good to bring talented people into the conversation to help bring other money to Chewelah. And so the more you get, folks that can help you accomplish that, the better off we are. We've got plenty of talent in Chewelah right now to do better than we are. And we've got some smart business people that can help create some of these things. So there's really no reason to have empty storefronts, frankly. And so I'm excited to see what SETI's ends up looking like, and hopefully that's hopefully that adds a lot of value to our main street and to what that downtown can look like. I'm anxious to see what that ends up being. And then to your point, Chuck, the more you can integrate and be thoughtful about where you place parks and where you place trails and all of that,
right?
The better off you're going to be down the road.
Well, it's important to keep Chewelah, but still allow that growth without having to change our identity and change who we are and change the feel of Chewelah, and it can be done.
Well,
yep.
And I'd like to add that I've been on this task force, and every time Larry comes in and he has these new ideas, it's like, whoa, we never thought of that, because we're all, we did that, tried that, been there, done that, it didn't work. And Larry comes in with fresh eyes to see what Chewelah's possibilities are, and it's exciting.
Yeah. It's good to see young kids like Larry come into town and make a difference.
Shake us all awake.
Better just shut my screen off right now. Well, I appreciate that. But really, the task force, Sharon, as you know, it's been a dynamic, interactive. They've been happy to tell me when my ideas suck. So they're not a shy group. But mostly they've been very patient and thoughtful, and I'm excited about what we're offering at the open house for people to come check out. Mm-hmm. So, if you're interested in the topic, it's worth stopping by. Gold Hill is going to be there. The Chewelah Valley Land Trust is going to have a station. They're a partner, so they're going to be sharing some of the work that they've done. That's an exciting thing all by itself. So they love it. Of course, they love the idea of a trail getting from Chewelah South all the way up through the golf course and then ending up on their project too. So those are big draws for Chewelah. It brings people in, they fill up their gas tanks, have lunch, head home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do have one more thing that's pretty exciting, if I can share it. So one of the stations is on a youth sports complex. And essentially, it started out as the Little League didn't have any room to grow. And so they've been kind of borrowing in facilities at the school district. And then, when the bowling alley got sold and now the Little League field is privately owned, I don't know if you know that, it really made their future insecure. And so we started talking to them about, well, what about the future for you guys? What if you had your own sports complex? Would that be a good idea? They're like, oh, yeah, of course it would. Well, again, be careful what you ask for, because we kind of expanded the idea to include girls softball, soccer fields, even lacrosse, those kinds of. So positioning for the future. We're looking at 3 sites. All are publicly owned. And kind of the favorite site is actually city-owned property next to the cemetery on the south end of town, which has about 10 acres. We only need about 5 for a youth sports complex. So that one is becoming kind of a favorite idea, to the point that the Chewelah Recreation Association has pledged $200,000 to that project.
Wow.
Yeah, the proceeds, part of the proceeds from the sale of the bowling alley, because the bowling alley, again, is privately owned and operated now, which is great because it keeps bowling around in Chewelah. So good for them, but also good for us because we've got $200,000 to get moving on this youth sports complex. So if you want to see what that looks like, stop by, and we've got a concept. Every one of these projects has a concept image associated with it. So it's going to be very fun for people to just come by and just, look at it, tell us if they think that's a good idea or if it's a horrible, or maybe there's a better idea. So we want to hear all of that. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. Can you tell?
Yeah.
I am too.
So let's come full circle and give us a little rundown about what people can, since we've been talking and chatting and all over the place. Come full circle and tell us what people can expect tomorrow night at the Civic Center, the time, and anything we might have missed here.
It kind of kicks off at 6 o'clock. It's going to run for an hour and a half. You can come and go as you want to. The mayor's going to do a welcome at 6, but most of the conversation will be station based. So you can just walk up to a station and check out the images, the information that's available. You can ask questions, that kind of stuff. So, and also, get an update on the plan. So we are going to be adopting this plan. These are the primary recommendations that are going to be the foundation of this plan. And our city council is scheduled to adopt the plan in January. So this is, it's a real thing, and we're going to be moving it forward. So if you come by, that's what you're going to see. You don't have to come by exactly at 6. You could come at 6:30, 7, whatever. But we're going to shut the doors at 7:30.
Okay.
And we do have some treats. So if you like treats, you could just come for the treats.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. A big round of applause for Larry Fetter. You've done so much work and helped create a great vision forward for Chewelah and the Parks and Recreation. Thank you, Larry.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for being here this morning, too. We appreciate it.
Just as a personal note, when we moved here, 6.5 years ago, we saw this beautiful little community full of potential, and it's really fun to see it sort of had the direction of really living up to the potential that this place has.
Just a final footnote, if I can. Our main city park, which is the Everett Jenny Memorial Park, 8 acres, and there are some improvements proposed there that I think are pretty exciting too, transformative. So if you're only interested in the main city park, you should show up just to check that out. So that and other improvements and new parks. So why not take a half an hour and come check it out?
Yeah.
All right. Catch up with Larry tomorrow night at 6. Thank you for being here today so much. We really appreciate it. Great information.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Other than that, we can wrap up our show for today. Tomorrow on the morning show, no special guests, just 3 goofy guys, and that'll be Chuck, myself, Scott, and Mr. Alan Milani joining us for a 3 Amigos Thursday. Always fun, always goofy. Other than that, a big thank you for Sharon for being here this morning.
And Alan just texted me a couple of minutes ago. The odds are favorable. He'll be here tomorrow.
Oh, look at that. Everything's getting back to normal. This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, for everybody, have a great day, and we invite you to keep on listening to Northern Lights Public Radio. We are KCHW 102.7.
Have a good one.
Heck,
Bye, Sharon. Bye, John.
bye, Scott.
Bye.
It's good to see you.